Hi, and welcome back to Free for All Friday on Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Great to have you on board the USS Focal Point. We are beginning to make the turn and head toward home port. We will dock in about 53 and a half minutes, and you will have 70 hours of shore leave, the most generous shore leave policy in conservative talk radio, as we finish this week of patrolling aboard the USS Focal Point, our patrol boat in which we patrol the choppy waters of America's public life, looking for the coordinates where truth intersects with politics. Our commander is on the bridge. The scriptures, as always, serve as our nautical charts. And the Holy Spirit serves as our navigator, and I serve as your loyal, humble, and cheerful first mate. Now, you know that things are getting desperate for President Obama when the Meanstream media hypes his visit with the Pope and hopes that there will be some political benefit in it for him. You know, the Pope's approval rating right now is at about 85%. President Obama, not so much. He's down to 41% approval, 59% disapproval, only 26% approval right now for Obamacare. That thing is in the basement, and it's digging into the septic tank. So the mainstream media, NBC, CBS, they are desperately hacking and flacking for Barack Obama. They are desperate to try to salvage this man's political career, his political reputation. So they can't help themselves but hope that some of the shine that surrounds Pope Francis will rub off on their beloved leader, Barack Obama. Here's a montage. First NBC, starting with Matt Lauer, and then CBS, talking about what they hope will happen with President Obama and his rubbing elbows with the Pope.
The Pope enormously popular. Some 80% of Catholics say they're in favor of him. 60% say that he has renewed their faith and support for the church. Is there something in just rubbing elbows with the Pope for President Obama?
Let's remember, 1 in 4 Americans are Catholics, and so yes, I think that the president, particularly right now where his own approval ratings are not so hot, just being seen with the Pope, particularly in some places where there are a lot of Catholic voters in the United States, it's not going to hurt. So yes, I think the White House sees this as a potential political upside.
Both made history when elected as the first African-American president and the first Latin American Pope. Both started off on a wave of popularity. But while President Obama's approval numbers have dropped, Pope Francis's numbers continue to ascend, which is another reason this visit could be a boon for the American president.
So again, they're looking at it primarily from the standpoint, not what was accomplished for religious liberty, not what was accomplished for human rights, but will this visit help retrieve the sagging fortunes of the president? And he is in big trouble. Let's drop down to clip 8 if we can. This is Maggie Haberman on CNN, and I mentioned some of the problems. Obamacare continues to have massive, massive problems. Kathleen Sebelius in Tennessee yesterday was asked directly, can she guarantee that there will be no more delays in Obamacare? She said, I don't have any idea how to answer that question. This is a complicated law, which means, yeah, we sure may very well have more delays coming up. Now, one of the things that we were told when Obamacare was enacted is this is going to reduce the number of visits to emergency rooms. We got too many people using emergency rooms. This will get them a doctor. It'll be cheap. It'll be free. They'll go to the doctor instead of overloading expensive emergency rooms. Well, you go to Massachusetts, which is the model. This is where Romney Care was implemented. They've been running this since 2006. And emergency room visits are actually up under Romney Care than they were before. So the implication, obviously, is that states can expect more visits, not fewer, as Obamacare rolls out. Here's a story about a guy. Remember, you got to pay for pediatric dental. Whether you want it or not, you got to pay for your kids to have dental coverage. So a guy says, okay, I had to pay for it. I don't get it, but my kids get it. So I've got 2 kids. This is a guy by the name of Scott Vorse. So he's got 2 kids, teenagers. So he's paying a monthly fee so they can get dental care because he has to. He doesn't have a choice. So, okay, the time came for their checkups. 6-month checkups, time to get their teeth cleaned. So he's now under Obamacare. It's not under his old policy. 6 months ago, he was on his old policy. Now he checks to see if their dentist, his daughter, if their dentist is covered under my plan, he says. So under his old plan, his daughters were covered. He could take him to his dentist. So he checks, is the dentist that I went to the last time, is he covered under my new and improved, supercharged, turbocharged, ultimate Cadillac healthcare plan that Barack the Benevolent has provided for me? The answer is no. My dentist is not covered. So he says, okay, there are other dentists. So let's see. So he checks within 5 miles of his house. No dentist, not a single dentist within 5 miles of his house that's covered under his plan, even though he's paying for this thing every month. All right, what about 10 miles? Radius of 10 miles? Nope, not a single dentist. What about 20 miles? Nope, not a one. How about 50 miles? Nope, not a single dentist. Finally, what about within 100 miles? Nope, no dentist that's covered under his plan within 100 miles of his house. And that's as far as he could check, because the Anthem search feature doesn't go beyond 100 miles. So right now he's at the point where he doesn't know if there is any dentist in the state of California that will accept his plan. No wonder it's down to 26% approval. Here's the clip 8. Maggie Haberman, she's a liberal. She's with Politico on CNN, again, a part of the press office of the Obama administration. And she says, look, the Dems are in big trouble. The Democrats are in huge trouble going into 2014 because of Obamacare. Let's listen.
We still don't know. We know how many signed up, but we don't know how many paid. We don't know the ratio. How many of these are older Americans? How many of those younger Americans you need to help the sustainability of the program? But to Molly's point about the politics, can the Democrats have a united message on this when you have Nancy Pelosi saying it's a winning issue, but you have those vulnerable Senate Democrats who are in places where the president wasn't popular to begin with and the health care plan wasn't popular to begin with, saying we want to still fix it?
You're not seeing anything like a unified message coming out of Democrats so far, especially remember the special election in Florida. There was very split opinion among the that I was speaking to afterwards about what exactly happened. You had some pollsters saying, yes, we were able to countermatch the messaging, and there was a lot of healthcare talk in that race. But you have other Democrats saying, look, we did try, and clearly it wasn't working. There was an opportunity, but we weren't able to do it. They're still finding their way, and I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of embracing of it for a while.
So Maggie Haberman, Politico, says, man, this thing is a disaster. You know, John King, this is CNN. I mean, they're pulling for Obama. They want this thing to work. They want the luster restored to his halo. And so they're just forced to the point where they've got to say, look, the Democrats are all over the map on this. Nancy Pelosi still out there trying to get us to believe that she thinks it's a winner. The Democrat senators that are vulnerable, they're all out there proposing these major fixes to Obamacare because they know it is a disaster. Other Democrats trying to get as far away from Obamacare as they possibly can. We played the soundbite from Rahm Emanuel yesterday. He may run for president in 2016. So he's out there saying, look, I offered my criticism to President Obama, and he rejected them. So basically what he's saying, that the fact that this thing is a catastrophe is not my fault. If President Obama had listened to me, this thing would be a smooth, oiled, seamlessly functioning machine. So the reason it's not is because President Obama did not listen to me, because I had suggestions would have made this thing different. So they're getting as far away from Obamacare as they possibly can. Focal Point AFR Talk.